Interesting questions are what causes the material to spin in drains? Water or air or whatever. It has been noted that most tornadoes spin counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, and that kitchen drains and bathtubs spin the opposite direction on the other side, like New Zealand. And when I first heard it, I thought, oh, then it's probably magnetic and would be the same direction in relation to the magnetic field and the axis of the Earth. It's actually, if you think of counterclockwise up here and clockwise down there, it's both going around that way. So when I talked to Dr. Bedard about it, and he was talking about that they thought it was from the spin of the Earth. And of course that would work that same way on both hemispheres, to spin in the same direction in relation to the axis of the Earth. So anyway, I suggested an experiment to test the magnetic theory, to place the drain in a stronger magnetic field, pointed the other way, and see if it would change the direction the spin went, and turn it around and see if it spun faster. Yes or no, you pretty much find out whether magnetic forces are involved. Okay, so anyway, it could be that both are involved, Earth spin and magnetic force. However, I don't think both of those forces are small. I don't think that both of these forces could together even could make anything spin as fast and powerfully as drains do, whether they're tornadoes or what. My feeling is that this may start the direction of the spin, but something else is the driving force. And that force, I believe, is gravity coupled with friction dynamics or other fluid dynamics. I think that a fluid or gas pulled aside, the friction tries to impede its greater speed downward more than sideways, and then that produces more sideways motion, and that cycle keeps building, especially the stronger the gravity, or in case of wind, vortexes like tornado, pressure instead of gravity. Pressure that is caused by gravity on the cold air pressing down from above. The faster the drain, the faster the rotation. I also think that all vortexes is a predominant force that extends at right angles to the axis of rotation that makes the material behind it also begin to spin. However, it could just be friction and then its own set of forces that is sucked along by what's in front. Anyway, the spinning starts at the drain location and then moves back along the line of axis until it runs out of power or breaks the surface. Kitchen drain sucks air. In case of a kitchen drain, sucks air along with, or in case of a tornado with trees and runs into the ground, and air is pretty much blocked. It doesn't have a free supply, but it does rip up trees and cars and stuff like that. This difference in whether it gets air or trees or cars must be the reason the shape of the cones are inverted from each other in relation to the flow. Water, the cone is smaller at the bottom where the flow is going. In the case of a tornado, where the top is larger where the flow is going. Also, considering the nature of the forces around each are different. I could explain in more detail, but I won't now. I've got more theory to develop here. Okay, so at that point, I kind of nagging at me that my second idea, or actually my first one, just seeding to happen in a controlled location, that is less damaging to our civilization, and hopefully the people deserve another look, because of the fact that to build these towers or these pipes up there is going to take a lot of engineering, planning, construction. It's going to take, seriously, I don't know, could we do one in a year? Maybe. I don't know, to get around to doing it, and then they have to build a number of them. So maybe the idea of that microwave gun, it deserves another look for a temporary fix, maybe even a permanent fix. The caveats of it could be riskier. It's more temporary. It takes constant vigilance. You have to get there. So those are the negatives. Whereas the having a pipe or a number of pipes around the country up there is, hey, you spend the money one time and hopefully it pretty much does the control from then on. It lasts a long time. They alleviate these conditions from start. You don't need the constant vigilance, etc. But okay, so I'm going to break in here and revert to my second idea. Okay, just explain that about that laser gun. So This could be a laser of whatever frequency that would excite or burn a hole in the layer of cold air above. Microwave frequencies should work great. The holes could be seated that would start the movement of air up and should be located at least as far from the town as most tornadoes travel, maybe a little farther, and taking all precautions, fire several shots, not straight overhead, but so you don't get it sucking you up along with your microwave. But that if it does form a tornado, you're out of the way a little bit, maybe escape. But firing several shots to make several holes and get this air flowing up, hopefully before the conditions are right for an actual tornado, and it can let that air start to escape slowly and bleed that bubble out, hopefully extending all the way to town, or whatever you need it, and get it taken care of before a big tornado forms. The idea is to create a lot of smaller lakes, let the air out first, and then there should be no tornado. And I had to admit, then later I started thinking, well, maybe our fighter jets could do something like that, but you'd have to take precautions about pulses of laser impulses headed toward the ground, and maybe cause it, making sure you didn't cause harm that way. So a little bit risky, but with the urgency that we have in so many tornadoes throughout the country, starting in various places right now, maybe this is something that could be tried in a hurry. We probably have laser weapons or experimental devices capable of this right now. Other frequencies might also work. Just starting leaks early in safe areas should deflate the air bubbles that need to escape above the cold air, and thus remove the cause for a local tornado. And the deployment could be rapid and tried very soon. While certainly there are some risks, they can be minimized and should be far less than the mayhem caused by an uncontrolled tornado. I see my first idea is better long term compared to all the running around constant surveillance needed for what I just described, but it will take time, engineering, and construction where this can be implemented very quickly. Okay, so, and here this Sunday again, and I was sitting in church and I thought, well, a hurricane, this is really wild. A hurricane is just, another big vortex, and you guys can laugh all you want, really, because this is kind of silly. Almost, this whole thing just sounds kind of unbelievable. But a hurricane is just a big tornado, in my opinion, formed from the same reasons, from a way bigger air bubble and a way bigger cold air mass out on the ocean, where the floor, the ocean surface, is much, much calmer than the land. It doesn't have any mountains. Things can get that way out there. That's why I believe hurricanes form out at sea, whereas tornadoes form over the land. Some tornadoes do form over parts of the ocean, but I don't see that we, fortunately, God don't have hurricanes running around on top of the Midwest or something, or the eastern or western part of our country too much. It's they come in off the ocean, and the side of them, the edge of them hits us, and then fortunately someday they go away. But they're kind of long lasting, and there is a tremendous amount of warm air going up through a tremendous cold blanket, I believe. So I thought, well, there's no way to build any pipe like that to take care of a situation that big. This tornado's big enough, you can barely do it. There's just no way. And then it occurred to me, well, hey, this laser idea, with fighter jets, the Navy, the Air Force, go ahead and laugh, could actually get out there with some kind of lasers, okay, and maybe with a group of them. Hey, you could do Blues Angel training thing over there, and they could just run over an area before it gets going, but it's headed that way, and just pierce that damn area with a lot of shots. You might cause some tornadoes down below, but a tornado in the open ocean hopefully is not going to be as dangerous as a hurricane or something, or as a tornado on the land, for instance. You probably would like to warn maybe people to not be floating their boats in that area, maybe, or something. But if they can travel a lot of ground, a lot of distance in a short amount of time. They might have to you'd be taking some risk to do that. You'd have to know what to watch for, how to get out of the way of what might happen. But I believe that if this was approached early enough, not I don't know about while the hurricane is raging, but if it was done before the conditions built up, you may be able to even deflate a hurricane before it formed. So, and it'd probably be pretty fun for these guys to try it. So, at any rate, I have a theory. I have a theory of what a tornado, wind vortex of any kind is, that it's spinning up through a cold air blanket that's holding that bubble of warm air down. It wants to go up. It springs a hole of some kind. In the case of a hurricane, it just builds up to like unbelievably big. I've got several ways to deal with it. 3 ways, or 2 or 3 ways. Actually, it's 2 ways with whether you do it from the ground or with airplanes, you know, or fighter jets type of deal. The piercing of that cold air blanket, it doesn't have to be so super large, I don't think, because surely when the air leak forms, it eventually, or not eventually, but pretty quickly becomes a tornado. Nature takes care of that. Nature just opens that up, and as it opens up, it's going to open up more. In the same way, if you shot a laser shot that was just big enough, whatever that is, to get it started, then nature should take care of it and should finish opening that thing up, and large vortex, small vortex, whatever you're going to get for the conditions that you got. Now, if you had hey, I don't know. If you can imagine a hurricane in progress, I think it becomes pretty much impossible to stop, but there's even potential you could make it spin quicker if you could fly around it, open up. There should be, for that thing to be going on, there should be one hell of a big bubble of warm air that is a hell of a lot bigger than the damn hurricane, even though it's damn large enough. And there should be a hell of a cold blanket over it. Okay, so that's my theory. If my theory is any good, that's got to be what's going on. So if you could penetrate that cold air blanket well around that hurricane, you may be able to get more of that air to go up and spin that hurricane faster so that hopefully it doesn't reach shore. So, thank you. That concludes